Hey, friends. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart
My
swing.
name is Benjamin Ayres, and I'm from Romance University. Some people call me the Chancellor. I know all of you.
Hi, Ben. I'm Roxanne, and we met, I think, last summer. And I'm from Everything About Hallmark. And I'm so excited to talk to you about Hope Valley. My goodness. So here's what I'm going to ask.
Okay, here we go.
All right, you ready? So
I
you
am.
hear about Hope Valley, 1874, and what makes you say, yes, I want to star in this?
Well, I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? Can I want to let me tell you this, okay?
Hmm.
So this is how it works as for an actor, and especially at Hallmark, because it's like usually you'll get a phone call and you'll say, there's a Christmas movie or there's this movie or whatever. It's starting in a couple weeks. Does this work for the schedule? Blah, 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 blah. Here's the script. You read it. We don't do a lot of TV series at Hallmark. So I got a phone call or a text from my agent saying, you're in consideration for 1874. I knew nothing about nothing. Didn't know what that meant. And then he sent just the sides. The sides are the auditioning. I did a chemistry read with Joy. And I read it, and it didn't come with an email that had a breakdown with all of the information. So all I read were two scenes from a show called 1874. It wasn't called Hope Valley. It wasn't called Before When Calls the Heart, just 1874. I thought it was Taylor Sheridan. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know it was Hallmark. And it read really edgy. And I'm like, call my agent. I'm like, what is this? And then he forwarded me the email, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is like nothing I've read at Hallmark before. And I just felt so excited about the opportunity to get to go back in time. And at that time, I still didn't know it was When Calls the Heart. You know, they hadn't told us that. I didn't know it was wrapped up in the Hardy universe. I just thought they were making a show that took place in the 1870s. And I knew nothing about the Mounties and all that kind of stuff happening at the time. So it was extra special. A few days after that, I was already down. I was already like, I just want to play in a Western. And then when I discovered that, it just got even better and that it was the prequel to When Calls the Heart. I mean, it's just so exciting, and it all happened very quickly for me. I was or I was just down kind of like helping support and promote the Bills movie in Buffalo, at that football game. And that's when I found out about it. I remember being at the hotel printing sides and on the drive home, sort of working on it. And a week later, flew to Kansas City and then straight to Vancouver to get on a horse. That's how fast it happened.
Thank you. I love
Yeah.
it. That's a great origin story. I love it.
Hi, Ben. How are you? This is Nicole from the Swing My Heart podcast.
Hi, Nicole. How are you?
Good. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, my first question for you is stepping into the world of Hope Valley, what does it mean to you as an actor to contribute to a story that already means so much to the Hardys?
I mean, with great power comes great responsibility. There's a quote. I think exactly that. I really wanted to be able to honor that world. Before I'd ever done any Hallmark movies or was even in the Hallmark world, it was this whole other bubble that I didn't really know existed. And it's interesting when I talk to actors that aren't in it at all. And they're like, you guys go on cruises? Like, what is going on over there? And it's like, it's so hard to explain until you're in the world. Then I came in, then I'm very in the world and I'm very aware of what is going on. That said, the When Calls the Heart is another bubble that unless you've been on the show, you're very aware of it, but you're not really. I've now been absorbed into the world in a great way, and it just feels exciting to be able to give them and you sort of an origin story of the world that you love so much, and that's just exciting to get to do. And on top of that, a Canadian story.
Yeah.
These are Canadians, and that's really exciting as a Canadian to get to tell that story.
Thank you. And it's such an amazing show, and I'm glad that you're a part of it,
Oh, thanks,
of
Nicole.
course. And I hope it goes for many more years to come.
Me too.
Yes.
Hey Ben, how are you?
I'm good, Donna. How are you doing?
Good. I'm from the Faith, Love, and Friendship podcast. I wanted to ask you because I love hearing what you just said about how you got connected with the show. My first question is, I love Tom. I think there's so many different layers of Tom that we're probably going to eventually find out about. But I want to know what your first impressions once you finally got, who you were going to be playing in this.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to fall into a type of stereotype. And I think if it was a movie, it would have been a little more difficult. And calling Alfonso quite early on and having conversations with Hallmark and trying to get a better understanding of his backstory, so I had an idea of where the character was going. Because again, it's not being wrapped up in one movie. We've got a slow drip over many, many episodes. And that's very exciting as an actor because I get to save a bunch of that and not have to show everything right away. And he is a bit of a man of mystery. And that's a difficult thing about a pilot is you're like, bam, here's the world, here are the characters. And it's difficult to pull that off. I'm very impressed with Alfonso to be able to have written it the way that he did in this time. And, Mike Roll really pulled it off. It was a very challenging shoot, and all the actors just arrived really prepared, really good, and really knew themselves. And I think that, um, it just said a lot for all talent involved because pilots can be difficult. And I'm excited to let Tom's icy interior slowly thaw over time, and let his vulnerabilities, once he feels safe, especially with Rebecca, um, be revealed more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That makes sense.
Thanks,
Okay,
Donna.
so I'm Rachel with Hallmarkies podcast, and kind of bumping off of that question. So Tom has his prejudices against the prospectors, and so how did you kind of deal with that, maybe more unsavory aspects of his character?
Well, I thought about the fact that, he's come from Ontario. He's been in the big cities before. He knows those that gamble are in casinos and where a large amount of potential wealth can lead you down a dark path potentially. And he doesn't want that to happen to his community. He's fine with them doing what they want to do, just not on his land. So I actually found it very easy to get behind that. And it's like, it's not you personally, but just go further downstream because also that dynamite is polluting the water, which is the water we're drinking, which is also the water for my cattle. And it's creating chaos and it's also loud and it's just very um, not cohesive for what he's trying to do. And I think Tom has a bit of a control problem and he knows exactly what he wants and he gets agitated when he's unable to create the type of environment that he's desperately trying to create. And I think we're going to, learn more where that came from.
On forward. Yeah, cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, Ben. It's Stephanie from the Heart Emotion podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good, Stephanie. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So, when you find out that 1874 is a prequel to When Calls the Heart, and I think it's safe to say that When Calls the Heart is a pretty successful series,
Oh
did you
yeah.
have an opportunity to connect with anybody? I mean, I know that we're sharing directors, we're sharing a lot of the same team, but did you get to connect with any of the actors and get any advice from them that translated over to this series?
I believe Kevin texted me buy good rain gear was what Kevin sent me. I'm so thankful that I know them all. I've known them before. Like Chris, I knew before. Kevin and I worked on Saving Hope. He did like a guest star on Saving Hope. Aaron and I did Santa Tell Me. Was that 2 years ago? Um, so it feels nice to have known them beforehand and again was aware of the universe even though I wasn't it was still a bubble. um, there were a lot of congratulations messages, and then just some fun jokes about stuff, but they were all very supportive and it was interesting because I was just talking to Kevin about, being on a show that long and, the blessing that that is and how incredible the Hardy fan base is just while we were on the cruise.
Yeah,
Um, so, he's like, well, you should come out and play cowboy or something. And like literally, he manifested it for me.
he did.
There you
That's
go.
awesome. Well, it was great to see all of you guys together in LA and kind of coming together for that moment as well,
I
too.
mean,
So,
that was great too. And again, interestingly, Cavan and I, I think I'd met him a long time ago, but he's friends with, one of my best friends, Peter Benson, and he lives in Tawasin, near my brother. My brother sees him all the time. They see each other at the gym, and I've got this like group of people out there. So it was nice for me just to get to hang out with him a bit and get to know him, more. And Viv Leacock, I've known for a long time, so. These are all Vancouver actors. This is my community, and it really means a lot to be able to represent that.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Thank you,
Hi, Ben. It's Catherine with Romcom Love Podcast. How are you?
Catherine. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How was the little mini,
Uh,
your little RU guy?
oh yeah, it was great. It was awesome. Thank you. The best. So
You're
that's
welcome.
actually Evie has taken that because while I was away, she wanted it. I was like, well,
Uh,
Evie, I don't know, da, da, da. And then it actually worked out perfectly because listen, this is the hardest thing is I have to leave Toronto to go to Vancouver to shoot.
right.
So I was gone for the whole time. So mini Ben sat on a bookshelf looking over Evie the entire time I was gone.
Oh,
I got photos with
well,
him all the time. It was like the most special thing ever. So thank
it
you.
kept her close to her dad.
Oh no, it was big time. It came at the right time.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, let's talk about your first impressions when you arrived on the Jamestown set with, of course, how iconic it was, or it
Yeah, well,
is.
I mean, do you know what's incredible is arriving on the Jamestown set and being like, "This is so cool." They're like, "Okay, great. So we're not going to use any of it. We're over there where there's nothing." So really, the Jamestown set was a place where we would sit, our green room would be one of the random rooms, but like I don't know what all those sets are used for, but we don't get to use any of them. From what I understand, well, except for the church, which is my ranch house. So they removed the steeple. Um, and then the rest of it, is stuff that we just built that's kind of in the back of the lot. I was really impressed also when I watched that first episode. Because there's a lot more green screen than I thought they would be doing, where I was like, oh, that's there. Oh, okay. Like it was interesting to see the way they configured it. Because of course I have it in my head. So it must be confusing and will be to you because you guys know the set so good. Um, how we shot that out. So I guess next time we're all there when we're there, talking about it, you'll find it rather intriguing. But it was exciting to be there because I've also heard so much about Jamestown set and had never stepped foot on it.
I agree. We'd actually love a map, because we have had conversations. There are some people who think the mercantile or the trading post was the church. And I didn't think so. I figured it was the house based on the angle and everything, but
I
that's a huge.
literally asked our third director, Elise, I was like, I can't figure this out. I need like a Tolkien map of like where all the things are. And then there was one printed and it was sent to my trailer, and I was like, it still doesn't make sense. But if I go from here to here, because I'm trying to understand what part is my land, what's the thing, how far is my house? Like in when calls, how far is the church from I guess what's the boarding house become? The saloon?
Yes,
How far is the church and the saloon?
a street in a kitty corner away. Both Stephanie and I have been have had the pleasure of being on set for
Okay.
HFR. So yeah.
Yeah, so no, that's true when you're there, but I wasn't sure if it
Yeah.
was cheated
Oh, well,
further.
I guess I've always just pictured it being that way. Stephanie, any change?
Same distance. I mean, are you asking,
Yeah.
is it the same distance on screen as it is like when you're
Yes.
shooting it?
Yeah.
It's
It's
the
the
same.
same
Yeah.
distance.
Right. So that's what's
They're right
confusing to
there.
me because I always thought the even I'm having trying to understand. Does the ranch that I'm in become the church, or is that completely something different?
Yes. Your ranch becomes the church.
Well, then why does it take me so long to get all the way over to where the boarding house is, which is going to become the saloon?
You know what?
You
Who
heard it here
knows?
first, but I don't, from what I understand, it's 50 mile or 15 miles or something like that, which would take a long time on horse. Anyway,
We can't wait to find out with you, Ben.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
I'm just there building it. I don't know. Then they asked, did you watch all 14, 13 seasons of When Calls the Heart? And the answer is no, I did not. I'm familiar with the show, but once we finish this first season, they will have to watch us to understand where they came from, right?
Sounds good. Love it.
Hi, Ben. I'm Holly from Fantasyland News. This is the first time I'm doing anything with Hallmark.
Hi, Holly. Nice to
How,
meet you, and thank you for being here.
of course, um, I've seen quite a few people that are like, well, I don't want to watch the show. I don't watch One Calls the Heart. How would you bring them in?
You don't need to have watched When Calls the Heart to watch the show. It being an origin story starts well before, so it's sort of, it is made to be watched as a standalone series. It has Easter eggs specifically for those Hardys that are already big fans. There's going to be a lot of small little like inside things that are special for them. But I think what's so beautiful about it is that if you are interested in just watching a community being built from scratch back when the importance of cooperation was integral to survival, you will enjoy this. And the safety of watching it also and knowing that nobody's going to get shot and die. It's not too intense, but it does have a nice little bit of grit. It does have some romance. It has some beautiful female friendships, and it is about the support of one another ultimately. And I think there's something exciting about watching that. And also ultimately the reminder of how hard our great grandparents, great great grandparents worked in order to give us this. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Ben. So I've seen you in an interview with your shake. You you were holding, wait, but you were holding the mixer. You didn't even like the blender. You didn't even have it in a special cup. You just brought it. You said, so we know you're about health.
If we were in the mid-afternoon, that's what
Yep.
you'd be getting. And you'd probably think,
Yes.
well, why is he doing that? It's because when I make a big blender smoothie,
Mhm.
I make too much for one cup and I don't have one big massive cup. And then you think about it, it's easier to just drink. I don't have to,
I
it's
know.
just one
It
thing.
was great. It
But it
was
is
it,
it is a little cumbersome in an interview, sure, but I've
but
done
it was fun and it's so you and I loved it. But my point is that you're about health and this role is quite physical. So what was it that you had to do to prep for it?
well, if I'm being honest, I was in a specific type of shape that I realized wasn't really what I wanted. Like I've allowed myself and afforded myself to put a bit of weight on for this. Even though the turnaround was fast, I
Hmm.
ate more than I have in a long time and put on some weight and just wanted to be able to feel grounded in a way that I hadn't in a while. I was so excited about the physicality of it, and you'll see there's lots of stuff upcoming that I get to do, which was just really exciting. It's a dream come true to get to play a cowboy, cops and robbers. I'm on horses and cowboy hats and running around in the mud and jumping over things and um, damsel in distress. And like it's the best. It's so fun. It's.
Did you have to learn how to ride or were you already a good rider? Because you're excellent. I mean, you look like you've been doing it forever. It's
Thank
really
you.
good.
I appreciate that. I think that I'm really good at pretending I've been doing it for a long time. I mean, listen, this is the best thing. It's like, if any of you are familiar with Saving Hope, this was the hospital show I was on. And like all of a sudden you're a doctor. That it's really hard to just all of a sudden be a doctor
Hmm.
and make it look like you've been doing it for a long time. And not that you're so good at it that you're going, oh, look how good I am. It's you have to be so good that you don't even think about it. And it just takes a great amount of relaxation and trust and thankfully, you get multiple takes. So Dave isn't always stopping when he's supposed to. It's not a car. If I told you that, Dave is the name of my horse.
Yeah.
So he's not always stopping when he's supposed to, and you're going over the mark, or he's just fussy, or it just so happens that you're off camera walking into the frame, but it's in the direction of where the barns are.
Oh.
When they know they're walking towards the barns, they run back. They're not taking four small steps. So trying to get him, and I'm just trying to be in the scene, trying to be all cool. And he's like, "Are we going back or not?" And I'd say, you can't squeeze your legs even a little bit. So
Yeah.
you're spending most of your time concerned about bringing your energy down for the horse, and then going, "Oh, wait, I have a line here."
It's good though. It's so good. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
My next question for you is, before Hope Valley becomes what fans know, Tom is part of its foundation. What kind of legacy do you think he's unknowingly helping build? And is there something about this universe that resonates with you personally in a way you didn't expect?
Oh, good. That's a good question. I mean, I think he's hoping to build something big, like he's seen them across the country and he's come from them and he's left for a reason and his whole sole purpose is to build something that lasts. And that's really what he wants to do. And in order to do that is going to create, it's a lot of work. And as I said, a lot of cooperation needed from those that trust him and that have moved there with him to do this. And it's a big undertaking. But with it comes such a great purpose that I greatly appreciate. And I think that has spilled over into my real life even more. And I don't take anything for granted now. Um, and I always, I've never tried to anyway, but like this on a whole other level, just even when I sit down to eat, I think now about where all of this food has come from to now just be sitting in my fridge. And even more easy is walking into a restaurant and like, just order a steak and whatever, and out it comes like that. Like, could you imagine? They would have been so in awe of that. Uh, yeah, it's fascinating. So it has influenced me in many ways in my regular life. Yeah.
That's a great answer, and
Yeah.
I always love the characters with depth, and I can't wait to see more of what your character brings to the story.
Thanks,
That's a
Nicole. I
good
appreciate that.
of course.
All right, then. My next question, being an avid horseback rider myself, I mean, first period piece for you, which you're killing it so far with Tom. Was this your first time, you know, basically riding horses? And did you learn real fast that they feed off of how good or how bad your energy level is?
This is my first time ever on a horse on camera. Actually, I think there was a small moment in an overhead shot. We did like a quick shot. I can't remember if it was a Chronicle Mysteries or the Jane. No, it was a Chronicle Mysteries with Allie. So,
Mm-hmm.
which was great because I got to have that experience with Allison Sweeney, who owns horses and knows horses really well. And she's like, "Your stirrups aren't long enough." Like all these things. I was like, "They aren't." Like now, I just like push your heels down. I'm like, "What do you mean push my heels down?" All of these little things that take a while to sort of become second nature. Um, and the energy thing is just fascinating. I hadn't even really thought about a horse as prey, with their eyes on the side of their head, constantly skittish. They're just these little nervous animals, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it is very important that they feel that you're in command. And it was empowering to be on them for sure, but also scary at times, quite honestly. There would be moments where I'm a little nervous, and I know that my nerves are creating a nervous kind of cycle
Mm-hmm.
between the horse and I. So I need to kind of calm down, and then what happens is if you get a little bit nervous, as your legs squeeze a tiny bit, then he's kind of moving
Yep.
around, and I'm pulling on him, and it's like, are we going? Are we stopping? Or what's happening here?
Yeah.
Um, and it's so subtle. He's also, they kept saying, he's the Cadillac of horses. He's very smooth, um, but it doesn't take much to get him going. And there were a couple times where I just thought I was gonna like canter up, and he just took off, and it's That's when that's what I really want to do for next season is go and learn to ride him much quicker and feel comfortable going at that pace. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. Is there anything in your performance that you do to make it feel less modern, like maybe something in your posture or your way of speaking, or is there anything you're trying to do to kind of get you into that time period?
Yeah, great question. Like I have to be honest, I really did not I was nervous beforehand because I'm like, I don't know who this guy is at all. And then once you put that costume on, and there was a specific thing I remember. The costume was amazing, putting it all on. Didn't know which way do the suspenders go on the outside of the vest, or you're learning all those little things. The pants were great, you know. Um, the hat didn't quite work, and I was like, I need something that feels more cowboy hattish to me. And I found this place in Vancouver that makes them, and went and tried on a few and took photos and sent them back, and that was the one we decided on. And, once the whole thing came together, it's hard to explain, but it's like even on my way into set, I'll be running lines or, thinking about the day, and it's not until I put everything on that I feel dropped down into this character. And it's like, it's just my voice drops down. There's everything. There's just a weight that comes once I put everything on, and it's like the weight of the weather and the things and his experiences in life and that calmness. Um, there is definitely a way I hold myself once I put everything on, and I just always think about it just dropping down, and everything just sort of drops once I'm in it. Yeah.
Ben, I'm curious, like the cast is essentially building a community from scratch. And I'm curious how that translated in how you guys bonded behind the scenes. I mean, even we've seen how much you guys had to fight against the elements and all of that. So, how did all of that play into how you all bonded?
It's a great question because yeah, we're building a community on camera, and we're also doing it kind of, for ourselves. And it was and it's kind of multi-generational. Like as we get going, there are these great, there are full episodes where the kids have their full storylines, and they go off and get into trouble and stuff happens with the kids. And then there's the love triangle, and there that young love fleeting moments, and their little butterflies, and then the more mature storylines. And um, it was interesting the way I loved watching the kids on set. They would sit and read books and giggle about things, but then they'd also be doing TikTok dances and like doing little performances and putting on plays for us. And it's just so beautiful to have that type of energy on set, especially because I was especially missing. I mean, one of mine is a teenager, but the other one still got that type of energy. Um, and it was, we had a couple bonding experiences. We went out and did karaoke and dinners and stuff like that. Um, and, to just be thrown into the mud, into
Literally, right?
literally into the mud in the rain, and have to go out there and tell the story together. It was a blessing. Like, I'm really glad we didn't film it in the summer. It kind of needed to be filmed in the winter in this weather. And, it really did bring us together in a way that any other weather pattern would not have. But I feel really blessed to have this crew of people, this cast of actors, kind of doing this with us. And then, like you said, it was interesting to hear the perspective of the crew who also work on One Calls the Heart be talking about the differences of a show like this. They've been doing it for so long, and it's like that's the one thing I didn't realize is the Hardys. They said that, or One Calls the Heart. They said while they're filming in the summer, it's very dusty, and I was like, interesting, and lots of bugs, lots of flies, and
Yeah.
mosquitoes, and I was like, really? Yeah, I had no idea.
That's cool. Well, we just heard from the cast of When Calls the Heart that they really attribute, aside from the fan base and all of that, they attribute a lot of their success to the fact that they're just friends outside of the world, and that has really, they think, helped with that longevity is that they all get along so well. So,
I would 100, and I I've seen that in action, and it's very true, and it's a beautiful thing to watch, and I hope that we're able to build that as well. That comes with a lot of comfort and a lot of time together, you know. After
Yeah.
13 years, I mean, this is the biggest chapter of their lives, you know. So it's really special to get to witness it, and I feel very happy for them to have that experience, and hope that we get to do the same.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So, Ben, you mentioned that a little bit about a backstory, and of course, we have so much to learn about Tom. Without giving too much away, what can you tease that we might be unfolding from his story this season?
Well, Tom made his way out east 3.5 years ago. So he's been here, or at least he's been settling this land for 3.5 years. You know, he spent some time in Montana. He was there for a while. That's where he picked up Nash and Peggy and the kids and said, you know, why don't you guys come with me? We can kind of settle. Essentially, there's like land that I think I can go get. And if you guys come, we can sort of do this ourselves. And, you know, he picked up some ranch hands along the way. Um, and, you know, he came from Ontario. And there was some family situations that sent him on his way. There was, you know, a relationship that didn't end the way it was supposed to. Um, so there are some things in his past that he's running from ish, not running from, I should say, but he's just trying to prove himself. He's a man who's trying to prove himself because he felt like he was unable to before. You know, and it's that classic story of a man who needs his father to accept him.
Well, we can't wait to watch it.
Okay.
So my next question is, we all know a lot about Bethany Joy. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like working with the incredible Jill Hennessy?
Oh, Jill's energy is the best. She's just got such a exuberance and like sense of humor and loving kind of energy. And you know, we kept saying we need more scenes together because we really enjoyed working together and spending time together and having laughs and talking about music and movies. And um, you know, we were also staying at the same hotel. And she was flying back. This was the thing, was she ended up with this job. This is her first time at Hallmark, and you know, that blows my mind. And also, like, what a welcome she gets to like come and do 1874. Uh, but she had already signed on to do this. It was like a residency in New York. So every second week they had to fly her out so she could get back to New York and do this live show. You know, she's got this
Oh wow.
this one woman show, um, which I couldn't even get my head around. I'm like, you're here, you're here. We have to wrap you out in time to fly to New York, and then she's performing Thursday. And she's showing us videos. She's like, I was with Bruce Springsteen last night. We were on stage doing this thing. I was just like, what? She's a superstar. And then she's on a plane flying back, and then she's shooting with us Monday. And she's like, yeah, it was great. It was, you know, she had these two incredible lives happening at the same time. Um, yeah, just you know, a lot of cool experiences and really fun to be around, and so happy to kind of get to call her a friend.
Yeah, that's so nice to welcome her to the Hallmark family.
Yes, very much so. It must be exciting for everybody to see her on the network.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Tom is like very not forthcoming with I don't know, his feelings, his thoughts. Not yet, I guess, right?
That's right.
We see. Okay. So what's something that Tom would never admit out loud?
Oof. Listen, feelings are a tough one for him. You know, he holds the cards tight, and I think that's what's so beautiful is, you know, he hasn't had a woman in his life for a while that will allow him to have that true vulnerability that only a woman can bring out of him. And I think I'm excited for that opportunity for him because I feel bad for him in some ways, you know. He hasn't been able to love or been loved in a way that would be good for his heart. And I think he wants to, you know. He's a tender man, but also has had to be tough as you would had to have been in those times. And he's seen some stuff, you know, and had to do some things. So I am excited to see where that relationship goes. I'm excited for you guys to see where that relationship goes, even though it's going to be a slow drip. This is only the first season of hopefully many that we get to do this.
Don't torture us too much.
I know, but
There's episode in episode 2, I think is where this is, and I'm not going to like spoil anything, but it made me feel at first I was a little bit angry with the way Tom was behaving, but then I felt bad because he wants to eat dinner by himself and be with his thoughts. And I'm like, that's sad.
yeah, I mean, it might seem sad, but I think it's easy to project that those that are by themselves are lonely, and he's not a lonely man. He spends his day with everybody doing his things. He's
Right.
actually, and there's also something to be said about a man who doesn't want to feel like a burden to others. And it's like, I want you to be with your family, and he enjoys being with his thoughts. I think it's easy again to project loneliness or sadness onto a man that wants to be alone, but sometimes it's endearing to see someone who is so steadfast in their comfort in it.
That's true, which is good. You just told us a lot right now. Thank you.
Yeah.
So my last question for you is, if you could place Tom into any moment from the original series, what kind of interaction would you be curious to see, or what character would Tom potentially be friends with from Hope Valley?
Sorry, if I took him out of Hope Valley and put him in When Calls the Heart,
If you took him out of 1874 and put him into where the show is currently in the 1920s.
I'm gonna have to ask you that question because I'm not
Ooh,
familiar
okay.
with the When Calls the Heart universe enough to know where he would best be suited. I don't
Hmm.
know. Do you know what I could see him becoming? A Mountie. Why would I say that? I could see him somehow. I guess he might be friend the Mountie. Right now, he's very cautious of the law, but I think what the law brings is something he's been trying to do on his own anyway. But that's a question I would have to ask you because I don't know
Okay,
the world well enough to know where he's best suited in
okay,
the
no
1920s.
worries. I could see him becoming
Yeah.
friends with Nathan. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
for sure.
I was going to say, piggybacking on what Nicole just said, I would say probably mayor, maybe. Mayor of
Okay.
Hope Valley, if I had to put you somewhere.
Who plays the mayor?
Chris
Chris
McNabb.
is Chris McNally's the mayor? No.
Chris is the governor.
Governor,
Kevin Smith
sorry,
plays
governor.
the mayor.
Who's the mayor?
Kevin,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Kevin's character.
Either
Okay.
or,
Either
Yeah.
or. Yeah. Maybe both of
either
them.
or.
Maybe we'd sit down and play cards. That sounds great.
There you go. There you go. Um, we see a lot of Tom's ruggedness, and we can see the toughness, the rough exterior. I love the first scenes with you and Bethany, Rebecca. Um, why do you think Tom is so intrigued by her in these very first scenes in this first episode?
Well, it is an incredible feat to get across the frontier from Chicago all the way to where we are, especially alone as a woman with a daughter. It's like fascinating to him that she's there and also strangely suspicious. Once he finds that note, it's like, who is this person? What is she running from? What is she running to? Wait, she's opening the boarding house that's going to give comfort to the locusts that he desperately wants, as far away as possible. I think, Alfonso did a really good job of setting all of that up, but I think it slowly comes out of a deep respect for what she was able to do, and her desire to not want any help because she can do it on her own. And I think he's so conflicted because it's his instinct to help others. That's the thing, is he
Yeah.
desperately wants to make sure everybody's okay. Even though it is this gruff exterior, we see more from he doesn't say what he's feeling, but he shows it in action. And I think that again, that's sort of
Mhm.
true of the time of a man like that.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, without any spoilers, do you have a favorite episode of season one?
Uh, I think what I love about season one is, listen, we're gonna have to set up the world a bit, and then once we set up our world and we get comfortable, there are going to be some outside forces that try to create chaos within our world, which then gives us a space of having to come together to work as a team. And that happens in some episodes that I'm really excited about. But I can't tease out too much more than that, except for I just know I really do believe the show gets better and better and better with each episode. I really believe that, and I'm really happy with the first two episodes. They were very challenging to make. There was a lot of obstacles in making it, but I have watched them and I'm really happy with them. And knowing that those ones were the most difficult to make and the ones that are the most important to get everybody to kind of enjoy the ride, it's just going to get better and people are going to, have a good time. If they like the first one, I'm confident in that.
Cool.
Ben, we've had the directors rave about how much they loved being a part of season one. Can you think of a moment this season where you felt like you were as a team really building something special?
Uh, I mean, I would say each of the blocks with each of the directors, multiple days had that. It really, outside of just the Hardy universe, the experience of getting to make a Western in Canada with my friends in this capacity was just so special. And it's just so special to get to make, just speaking as an actor, maybe you get to be on a series in your career. Maybe you get to do two, maybe you get three, but every time you're on a TV series, it's the most special thing ever. And getting to make a show like this that's never been done at Hallmark, I just can't even tell you how blessed I felt and how happy I was, even in the mud. Like it was the best experience ever. And we were all aware of it. We all felt very lucky to get to do it. And the hardest part is the hardest part is everybody saying, I think this is going to be a big deal. Because you're like,
Yeah,
stop jinxing it. Because let's just enjoy it for the process. And even Joy and I were like, the process of making this has been so unique to anything we've done that I don't know if I can watch it because the watching of it is so different than the experience of making it.
yeah,
Even the talking about it like this, is just, it doesn't even do any justice of what it's like to go there every single morning and be there all day doing this. Because what's actually being edited together and the time spent between action and cut is so small based on the rest of the experience of every single day and spending time with everyone and solving all the problems that are constantly coming up, whether it is
yeah,
due to just the weather, the locations, the animals. It's a constant state of solving problems, which I
yeah.
love. That's the collaborative aspect of this.
That's awesome. Well, what a gift.
Yeah, what a gift indeed. Thank you.
Thanks.
So one of the fun things with when calls the heart is that between there's three shows now with the kind of in the same universe that a lot of Hallmark fan or stars came in and have played throughout the seasons. And so if season two and beyond, who would you love to have from the Hallmark universe come and play?
Well, that's great. I mean, I guess the first thing we have to do is figure out who was not on when calls, right? Because we can't have any kind of overlaps. I even asked some of the background performers, I'm like, have you been on one calls? We can't have you featured if you've been on. No, no, I haven't been on one. Because it's important because I know the Hardys are going to be looking. Oh, there are so many. My first instinct thinking about Vancouver is I'm going to need some Paul Campbell rolling in. That would be great. A little bit taller than me. Wouldn't need, I don't like that. I might have to give him a donkey to come in on, like a mule, I think would be great. Uh, I'm gonna want to see Nikki DeLoach for sure. I feel like she's just built to come in on a horse. Um, oh, there's so many. Peter Benson, I really want to see Peter come in and actually sort of be there in a substantial way. I'd like to see that. There are so many. The list goes on and on. Um, Anybody that I have been on the cruise with or have been doing my Magical Mystery Tour, Care Bear tour with, all of them. Yeah, everybody. I love them all.
Stephanie, we're in. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we have our fingers crossed.
All right, good.
Okay, if you could sum up this whole experience in one statement, what would you say?
Grateful. I am incredibly grateful to the Hardys for having been such a big fan of When Calls the Heart, which has given us the opportunity to do a prequel to their world. Let's see how that world was built. And that's what we're doing. And I just feel incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to continue telling that story for the Hardys, for new fans alike, and especially for Hallmark, because I feel grateful to them. And it's just what a network. Look at we've made so many incredible movies and series and, content to be watched with your family. And I just feel, yeah, grateful to be included.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Hearties. I think that concludes the interview with Benjamin Ayres. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share your thoughts on Hope Valley 1874 and your hopes for his character Tom in season 1 in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube and follow along on Spotify, and make sure to hit the bell so you are alerted when those new episodes are posted. You can also find the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Swing My Heart Podcast, and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Love y'all. Bye.